Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Get those fingers going in the chat box. Let me know that you're here. If you are on the live stream page, I definitely recommend you head on over to YouTube for the better viewing. It's a lot higher res. It's got the interactive ability, which we want you to have because we want you using that chat box throughout the event, asking questions and interacting with us. We are going to get started in just about 8 minutes, so let us know that you're here in that chat box. I see everyone hopping into the chat box there. Hello, Lawrence. Hello, Beverly. Hello, Freddie, and everyone else that's chiming in there. We're so excited to have you on the broadcast today. We are going to get started in just about 6 minutes, so be sure if you're on the live stream page for the broadcast that you head on over to YouTube. We certainly recommend it. It's a lot more interactive over there, and we want to be able to have you guys on there in the chat box. So again, welcome. We're going to get started shortly. Hey, Steve and Dennis and Kayla and Mark and everyone else helping on. Thank you so much for piping in the chat there. We're so excited to have you all. We are getting started in just about 2.5 minutes, so don't go anywhere and be ready. We've got a lot to come your way today. Well, officially, welcome everyone to our broadcast this month. We have so much exciting information to share with you. A lot of interactivity today. We're excited to have you all on. If you are on your first broadcast, a very special welcome to each of you. And you might not know this, but there are 3 different ways to watch the broadcast. And if you're on that live video page, the webpage that we have for you for the live stream, I highly recommend that you head on over to YouTube right now. YouTube is a lot more interactive. It's definitely the better viewing option. So again, if you're on the live page, head on over to YouTube so that you don't miss anything today, and that way you can interact with us as well. One of the main reasons we like to see you interact is we do enter you in a kit giveaway each broadcast. Now, all you have to do to be entered is simply fire up those fingers, be using the chat box, commenting during the broadcast today, have liked and followed our Facebook page, as well as subscribe on YouTube. It's really important that you do that because we want to get each of you entered in that kit giveaway. Now, speaking of, I'd love for you guys to all hear from our previous kit winner on what he thought of his giveaway.
I just joined a couple of weeks ago and just wanted to let you know it pays to participate. I got in on a webinar, a training session with Ryan and Kendra. And during the session, they said they were going to give away a marketing kit. If you just did a few things, followed instructions, subscribe to their YouTube channel, like them on Facebook. And let me just tell you, it's absolutely worth doing. I came home last night and had a huge box out by my doorstep that was delivered. And here it is, the Growth Management Group Marketing Kit. Your growth is our business. And I'm just going to open this up and show you how amazing this kit is. This is all the things that are in it. And I'll just pull a few of them out here. So first, there's a ton of these, and this is like a jacket that you can put different flyers in and your business card. It's got a place for your business card down here. And then the flyers that they give you, packs and packs of flyers that are in here. This is called, well, actually, there's one that says Growth Management Group, and it tells who we are and what we're all about. I mean, there's just tons of these things. This one is specifically for cost segregation. This package is specifically for R&D tax credits. They're all professional, glossy. This one is for the Growth Management Group, property tax mitigation. So again, if you're targeting certain things, you can make up your own books. Here's WOTC hiring incentives, the WOTC. I mean, it goes on and on. Here's about GMG, our company and our team. My goodness, here's why medical. So this is for medical. If you're doing the underpayments, you can also add the tax portion of this, the benefits that they can receive. Why manufacturing, corporate partnerships, Econolodge Franchisee Association specifically. That's pretty impressive. CPAs and accountants, and auto dealerships. So it just goes on and on. All I just wanted to tell you is it's definitely worth your time to participate and follow the instructions, and hopefully you can get yourself a big old box of goodies like I did. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. A special thank you to Coach Bud for sharing his feedback on what he thought of his kit he got in the giveaway. I see a lot of comments in there, everyone excited about it and wanting one as well. So be sure that you are using that box today, adding your comments and questions as we go along. Now, you all saw on the invite today is all about conquering your client meetings, and you can't do that without a little bit of guidance from us, right? So to go ahead and get you started on that, I'd like to welcome in Ryan Maddock.
Thanks, Heather. I appreciate that. So as you mentioned, today we're talking about conquering client meetings. Now we use the word conquer because that's exactly what you need to do. You need to conquer your fears. You need to conquer your confusion. You need to conquer anything that's getting in the way of you going out there. And we're going to equip you with everything you need to have those conversations to earn the highest commissions possible. Now, as part of that, Kendra's going to teach you how to customize the toolbox, how to change the templates and the tools and the scripts to personalize them to your unique style. We're also going to talk about which clients pay the highest commissions, and more importantly, which clients will generate you a lifetime residual, because we want you earning commissions year after year after year. In addition, we'll spend an extensive amount of time interacting with you, answering your questions, because that's what we're here for. But most importantly, and the topic that most of you probably came here for today, is we're going to have multiple role plays where we live walk you through exactly what to say, exactly what to do. Kendra, this is the part that I'm most excited about. And when we came up with this idea, I mean, I was so fired up because this is exactly what I feel our partners need, is they need to see, we got all this studio, we got this camera gear, everything. They need to see in multiple angle, HD, what to say, what to do. Yeah.
It was funny. We were sitting down, you, I, and Heather, we sat down and we were just kind of talking about what we felt like you as partners needed for this month. And naturally, this is the topic that rose to the top. And I was excited because in my experience, my few years of working here.
Few decades?
I've noted...
Not quite. Not plural.
I've noticed that you either feel like you're at one extreme or the other as a partner. You either feel like I've got this, like client meetings are no problem for me, or you kind of use it as a roadblock. And I feel like we're actually all kind of somewhere in the middle there. Like we all have varying degrees of ability. And I thought with this new format,
Kendra, I have to fix a slide issue. So live to you.
Live on me. Lovely. I felt like with this new format that we were really going to be able to learn from each other. And as you guys, we've talked about, like this new format for the broadcast is all about you. We try to bring things to the table that you're really going to benefit from, not only with your work with us here, but also in your own services or in any other aspect of work or sales that you choose to do. And conquering client meetings, I think is something that we can utilize in all of those aspects. So that's why Heather had really a good lot of little feedback too. I really love when we get to pull her or the support team in when we're talking about topics and we're talking about things that you need, because they're dealing with you on a daily basis. And so this is the topic that rose to the top, and we're all really excited about it to bring it to you. Please, while we're kind of going through the broadcast today, utilize that question box. I believe, Heather, correct me if I'm wrong, like put it in the comments if I'm wrong, but it's there on the right side. I don't know where it's on YouTube, forgive me. YouTube is the best place for you guys to be watching, but be asking those questions, because that's really, or comments. Like if you found something that's worked really well, either a tool that we've provided or a tip or trick that you think, really works well, share it in there. Or if you have a question about how do I apply that tool? Like how do I answer that question? What's the best way to do this or that? Share it in there, because that's really the only way that this format is going to get the best, outcome for everybody.
All right, Heather, I think you have slides back now, and you go ahead and pull those up. Perfect. So yeah. This is coming, Kendra, at a key time, and probably in just a few minutes. We don't have too much to talk about. We're going to live role play multiple scenarios, show you exactly what to do. But Kendra, this is coming at just like an absolutely pivotal time. And of course, technical. I got to click again to
give us power.
Yep.
That's okay. We overcome easily, right?
There you go.
The pivotal time that we're talking about.
There we go.
It's going to pop up there. It is tax time. And if you've been here more than 1 year, then you understand where I'm coming from. If not, I need to nail this home with you right now. As we move towards April 15th, our clients, business owners, they're getting hit with this double whammy. So they've got taxes due for last year. They've got stress, uncertainty. They don't know how they're going to settle up with the IRS. Like, it's hard. They're overcome. They're kind of scratching their heads wondering, where's this cash going to come from? I need cash flow. Where is it going to come from? And it's not about filing the tax return. That's not what it's about. It's about this scramble and balance between keeping the lights on for the business and paying the IRS. Like, how do you choose between those two? You really can't. But this is the position that a lot of our clients are in right now. And because of that, we really have to stay aware.
Well, we're just like,
you can click.
It's a comedy. I click until I'll tell you when you can click. So
is in that.
Heather, we keep losing slides. I'm so sorry. You can, are we?
I think we're good right now.
She said they're gone again. Oh, they are gone again.
Goodness.
Okay, so that's okay. We don't, we're okay without visuals. But I think the important thing is that, Kendra, talk a little bit about specifically, right now, we're about 40 days away.
Yeah, we're about,
and what does that mean?
Exactly. Like, it's 42 days away from April 15th, which is tax day. And if you live in a couple of states, it's the 17th. So don't call in and correct me. I'm aware of it. I'm just going with the average, guys. But being aware of the mindset of our client base, of those business owners in that short window of time is what's going to make us successful. You guys have to be out there. You have to be in their face. You have to be reminding them and sharing with them what we have to offer, because unfortunately, as memorable as we all think we are, they're not going to remember us if we're not continually trying to approach them and trying to get this message out to them. And because we're in this crunch, it's really created something, and I'm not touching slides this time. I'm gonna let Ryan do it. But it's created this situation that is really this cash flow crisis. And we use the word crisis because that's definitely what it is.
Yeah, this is a time period where you have to understand business owners really need something. And Kendra, there's something, we get questions every time about what's going on with the ERC and what's, things like that. And the answer is it's all up in the air. But I was just running literally moments before. I'm talking like Heather already had the intro going. I was going over numbers and doing the math. And I want to tell you something kind of cool that I just experienced. And that is that this year compared to last year, we have had an 830% increase in demand on our website for cost seg. Okay. And the reason for that is you have to understand that 2 years ago, there were all these robo-dialers and things that were going on that were saying ERC and get ERC. And a couple of years before that, it was all about PPP and people being able to do that. But you have to understand that while everybody and their brother jumped on the bandwagon of ERC, Kendra, cost seg, R&D, work opportunity tax credit. These are incredibly technical, hard to deliver tax credits that we've been delivering for 23 years. And unlike ERC, which people jumped on and thought, well, I'll just partner with the CPA and do this. These are engineering-based tax credits.
Right.
I say that to say cash flow demand hasn't went anywhere. And the only thing that's changed is now they've switched to a tax credit that less people provide. And we happen to be the premier provider for this for small, mid-sized companies.
Right. So it puts us in that position where we're able to be the solution that they need. And you have to keep that in your mind. This entire call, I want you to keep reminding yourself, I'm their solution. I'm their solution. I'm their solution.
Now, a lot of that growth has happened because, frankly, the last couple months, Kendra and I have told you, go talk cost seg. Like, you helped to drive this. But the other part is people need cash flow, which is why today we're going to show you and teach you exactly what to say, exactly what to go through. And I want you to not just see it on a script, Kendra, but actually be able to feel what that feels like.
I'm not going to let them go there yet.
Of course not.
I think before we talk about that, Ryan, shouldn't we be talking about who?
Yeah.
Who before like what? So if we talk about who real quick and then we could lead in, because I think that's kind of,
Absolutely.
everybody's got questions about that always.
So understanding who you're talking to, and actually last month we released the blueprint, and this is still live on your toolbox right now. The March edition just went live today. And on that, you can scroll down. Don't go do it now. I'll show you on your screen. You can scroll down. You can see there's a selection of who should I be talking to. And Kendra, the short is all employers and all commercial property owners. But really, there is a list of, like, not all companies are equal. Some generate higher commissions than others.
Right. And there's reasons for that. There's different circumstances for different types of industries. That top highest qualifying level for us is always going to be manufacturing, restaurants, hotels, and auto dealerships. And we have a second tier as well. It's kind of that mid, kind of they're really good, but they just don't make it to that top part. Those property management firms, apartment complexes, assisted living, medical offices. And then the good ones, the ones that we kind of know are going to qualify, they just don't get as much money, but you still should be out there talking to them. Those distribution and storage facilities, construction companies, service companies, charter schools, believe it or not, because they're for profit, grocery stores, dental offices, doctors' offices, vets, golf courses, tech hubs, retail, and like Ryan said, any business that you can think of that you maybe have a relationship with, even if you don't, they should be on that list. But those are 1, 2, and 3 kind of in that order, how much money you'd make on them, I guess we could say.
Now, there is one class of client that's going to close quicker, make you the most money, and you really want to tune in on that. And Kendra, this comes down to the debate that people understand. They say, do I want to go after warm clients or do I want to go after cold clients? So let's talk about that for a minute.
I always get a little confused. Like back when I was never in sales before I came here, like I was never around you guys, so I didn't really understand. But so ask yourselves, like, what's a warm client? A warm client is going to be somebody that you have some type of connection with.
Any type.
Even if it's like this much, like a friend of a friend, you just kind of know who they are, a colleague, somebody you've done a project with, someone you've worked with through a different organization with, or you attended some events with. There's a connection there. And anytime there's a connection there, the person is somewhat familiar with you on whatever level, and they're more likely to get involved. And those cold contacts, on the other hand, they're cold. There is no connection. It's a stranger to you, but they're a tougher crowd. But if you can crack them, they're incredibly valuable.
And they're going to lead to a larger network of people.
Correct.
But one of the things that I would say is you really shouldn't be limiting yourself. So, you don't want to think in terms of warm versus cold. Instead, what I would recommend is that you should be looking at warm and then cold in that order. Now, Kendra, this is something people struggle with all the time. I hear it. New partners, they say, well, I'm going to give a real scenario. They say, I'm Ryan the Realtor, or I'm in financial services, or whatever the case is. And the problem is people know me as Ryan the Realtor.
Yeah.
And so I can't go to my warm network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go build a business with all cold folk and start making money. And then once I have that, I'll double back to my warm base or my existing base. I mean, this is problematic. at
I've heard it
best.
before too. And you have to keep in mind that leads that are warm, they are statistically 10 times more likely to convert no matter what level of warm contact that is. So you should never leave one for the other. It should always be a combination approach. And in this order is the order that probably, gives you the best line of success.
Yeah. So when we're looking at going and talking to people, which as you can tell, I'm a little antsy to talk about. I had Kendra put
I'm
this
gonna
slide
stop
in
him
like
again,
6 times. Yeah, there is one last component, and we kind of just touched on it. And that is that, it really depends on who that person is to you.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
You're
ahead
one
of
ahead.
myself. I'm sorry.
I think at this point, it's the way we're going to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because, you can know who it is.
You need to have the clicker for this, 'cause I'm
who
not
it
gonna
is.
control your
I don't want to
slides.
mess it up.
You're good.
Because the way we're going to talk to them, you're going to be successful if you're authentic, and you have to be you to be successful. And when it comes to meetings, it's all about being real. And, if you walk in and because you're trying to protect yourself or build something else and put on a fake persona that's not really you. I heard an analogy one time. It's like putting on a pair of shoes that don't fit and walking into that meeting. You're just going to be wobbling around. You're going to be unsteady. They're going to feel it the whole
It's
time.
like Ryan in a suit.
It's just not you, right?
Yeah.
And people can sniff out inauthenticity. Like the moment they feel it, they're just like, yeah, whatever. They kind of back off. So it's easier to connect and build trust and have that comfortable conversation than kind of this formal, straightforward pitch. And it's going to make you more successful. And you need to capitalize on the aspects of your own personality. And so to tie this together, when you're out there, there's only certain things you can control. And the one thing you can control is yourself. And your communication style is important. I know a lot of you, I've talked to you over the years and you've done extensive personality testing and, things like that. And there's all kinds that you can do. You can see the one I chose to put on the page today is DISC, which is super simple, but you really have to know your communication style because that's going to be your secret sauce. And once you have that and you know how you naturally communicate, it's like literally having your own playbook. You'll know how to interact with all these different other communication styles, and it's going to give you that connection, that vibe. People are going to be, I get this person's authentic. And I did put that on the screen. If it's something you've never looked into, take 5 minutes sometime soon and take a look at, that's like a free DISC test. You can take it, super simple, and it'll help you understand what your personal communication style is, because that's how you're going to be successful. Add in is be successful just by being you, be authentic.
Yeah, and I would say when you're taking the scripts or anything, I'll give you an example. So the email templates, Heather, switch over to my screen for just a moment, please, meaning my web browser. So, when you're on here and you see email templates as an example, you're going to notice different voices that are on here. And it's not because Kendra and the marketing team have multiple personality disorders, because we have a diverse team. For example, this one right here, someone you have a previous relationship with, this one's me. This is my voice. This is how I talk to people. And frankly, this is an email template that I've used for 12 to 15 years. So it works really well. However, let me scroll down to some of the HTML templates, like this one right here, it's not just ERC is one of my favorites that I'll go use. Now, Kendra, this is your voice all day long.
Yeah.
And the marketing team's voice.
And we always encourage you, it's just a template. And it doesn't mean it can't be changed. And I've talked about this numerous times over the years. Go in and give everything we use your
People
own
don't realize,
voice.
even these beautiful fancy ones right here, you can actually, when you cut and paste them, just change
You can
words.
change it. And we want you to, because we want you to come across as yourself. We want you to be authentic. That's how you're going to reach people, is by being yourself and being successful with being yourself.
Now, a lot of what you're going to hear us talk about today is actually, and I'll show this later, is in the verbal script section. And don't go there now, just stay here. But one of the things I'll tell you is literally the whole dialogue that Kendra and I are going to have is largely made up of this. When we're going through and role playing. Heather, you can switch me back to slides if you don't mind. But I wanted to point out that when you're looking at our scripts and templates, you need to personalize them. If you're the type, like you got to think when you text someone, which is a great way to close business, by the way, that whatever voice you would have. If you're like for some people that might include words like bro or man or what's up gal, what's up girly, like whatever verbiage you would use if you were just reaching out, that's the verbiage you need to change it to. For example, you might say, how's it been going, man? I hope all is well. We've added a tax division, da da da. Like you've got to put those indicators in there, or else all of a sudden, like have you ever gotten a text or an email from someone and you read it and you're like,
that's not
that
that person.
Yeah.
That's not that
Yeah.
person.
So you need to do that. Kendra, are we finally allowed to talk
Almost.
Almost. Okay.
There's one other thing that I think we need to tie in before we move on to what to say.
I promise this isn't like clickbait. Like we're actually getting, and we're doing. It's only 22 minutes after. We're like way good on time for a change.
I
so.
think that we need to know the relationship. Like you have to know the relationship that you have with someone before you reach out and have that conversation. So
Yeah. And what we mean by that is, so we're going to go through role play. And by the way, I see a lot of questions here. This is great. We're going to spend most of the broadcast on questions, so keep those coming in. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this two different ways. One of them is existing, where we kind of talk through an existing relationship. Now, Kendra, you covered it earlier, but when we say existing relationship, what I mean by that is anybody who you know on a first name basis, or they know you on a first name basis, or you could reference like if you bumped into them at the county fair or at the local food festival or whatever, you'd say, hey, aren't you John? And they're like, yeah, oh, you own whatever. And you'd start talking, and they're like, oh yeah, how do I know you? And you say, oh, well, we both have the same realtor. Or I work closely with Mike Smith and da da da. And he was telling, just anybody that you could have that level of dialogue with, that's someone you can have an existing dialogue with, an existing relationship with. And then we're going to talk about new business. Now, new business is completely cold. Kendra, this is like, well, I don't want to give example, but we'll get to that one when we get to it. But we're going to start with existing.
And we're going to take a moment right now to watch a quick video from Ryan about existing client relationships, and make sure to take note of your questions while that's going on, because we're going to be covering those when we return.
Talking to people can be intimidating. It can be paralyzing to the point that you never get around to doing it because you just don't feel equipped. Especially in a situation where you feel like it's a service you don't know everything about. What tends to happen is we feel we have to dive in and learn about the service. We have to dive in and become an expert. And this really comes down to the fact that we don't want to risk our credibility, and we're paralyzed by the what ifs. What if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to? What if they bring up this? What if they bring up that? Well, when you have an existing relationship with someone, even if you become an expert, the problem is, let's say that your relationship, your reputation, what they know you is in a certain profession. Like I'll use Ryan the Realtor. So what do they know about me as Ryan the Realtor? Well, they know that I know and understand market trends. They know that I know and understand networking, and I'm well connected in the area. I have great contacts in the lending industry, all these different things. That's what they trust me on. So if I come along as Ryan the Realtor and lean in and say, hey, let me tell you about Bitcoin, or let me tell you about this, or let me tell you about that. The problem is, no matter how great it is, it's going to come across as outside of the area they know me as. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to offset that responsibility on someone else. And that someone else is me, it's us. And the way you do that is by saying, we have a division that, or I know someone that, I have a buddy that does this, okay? And you can see where this is different, because what you're doing is you're leaning into the relationship you have with them. You're saying, hey, Mike, how's that property going that I put you in last year? Or how's that retirement? How's that, whatever your relationship is, and you're leaning into that. And instead of saying, I've been taking night courses lately and I'm learning about specialized tax incentives, it's not going to fly. Instead, what you need to do is
offset that responsibility to someone else by saying, again, we have a division that, or I got a buddy that, this kid my kid plays soccer with that, whatever the case is, offset that responsibility. So what that looks like is saying you're leaning into how's your property doing, how's this, how you're reminding them of your relationship, and then you're saying, hey, listen, because I work with so many business clients, or because I work with so many restaurants, because I work with so many manufacturers, whatever the case is, we've added a specialized tax division. Or if they know you as a solopreneur, they know you haven't added a division, so you can say, I have a buddy that. So you can say, because I work with so many restaurant owners such as yourself, I've actually teamed it up with a buddy of mine that helps restaurants find tax credits. Okay? So let's take a look at what that looks like.
Hey Kendra, how are you?
Good. It's so good to see you again.
Absolutely. How are you enjoying the lake? I mean, I would kill for that.
You
view.
know, it was such a great suggestion that you had, like, to go in as a family group and get it. I think it's one of the best things we've ever done for all the kids and all the cousins and everything. So thank you so much for thinking about us. Like,
That's good. I got to ask, the bonus room, there was the debate between you and your husband. Did it turn into a theater room or?
It turned into a theater room.
So
We
you
got what we
lost that
wanted.
one?
The kids did not get what they wanted. He got what he wanted. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So how about on the business front? I've been seeing, your parking lot's full. Hopefully things
Yeah,
are
I mean,
back to normal.
a new normal, I guess. But yeah, we're doing okay. Scary couple years, but I think we're doing just about as good as everybody else is right now. So
Yeah. Did you guys take PPP?
we did, and it literally was a lifesaver there for a minute. And
Yeah.
it would
That's
be
the same thing I hear over and over.
Yeah,
again.
it was so easy to do. And honestly, I mean, it would be really nice if they decided to just give us that money more,
Yeah.
give us some more. But yeah, we took advantage of it. I think, everybody I talked to did. So
Yeah, that's kind of what we saw. I think PPP, people got into it because they could get it from their local bank. They got it from their credit union, their banker. There wasn't a lot of work involved, but it was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Or a two-time thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as part of that, we've actually, much like you guys, we've been looking for ways to diversify, serve our client base better, and things like that. And because we have such a large, base of our clients are actually business owners also. We've added a specialized tax division. So we added a new arm to the company. A lot of business owners and individuals like yourself, they're trying to free up cash flow.
yeah.
In the lending arm, don't even get me started right now.
It's insane. I don't even want to go down that road right now.
So people they need capital, but they don't really want to borrow, and PPP is gone.
Yeah.
What we did find though is that even though PPP is gone, and same thing, ERC didn't get renewed. There are $2.3 trillion in other programs that the federal government's made available.
Really?
Yeah, so it's something that we've been working with our existing client base first with, and then we're actually rolling it out to all of Southeast Michigan.
I didn't know about that.
Later
That's
this year.
interesting to hear about.
Yeah. We've built a calculator that goes out and it searches over 100 local, state, and federal programs. Now, the good news is many of them are for manufacturers. And the other good news is these programs, unlike PPP, some of them have been around for 4 and 5 decades.
Really?
Yeah, and they're permanent.
Okay.
So, I guess the last thing I'll tell you about it is because they've been around for a long time, understand that usually it's been like the upper echelon of companies that have taken it.
Yeah, now that you're talking about it, when you emailed me and said you wanted to meet, it was intriguing because I was like, I don't know about any of this, but I think stuff is popping up that I've heard about over the years, especially with some of our manufacturing groups and stuff like that. So, but I always felt like I'm too small. We're just a local manufacturer.
You're spot on.
I don't know that I have the resources to be able to do something like that.
That's why most companies haven't over the last few decades, is because it can cost more to get the credit than the credit's worth.
That's like that WOTC thing.
Exactly.
I didn't have the staff to do all the paperwork, and then they would just cancel it
Cost you
anyway.
more. It's
We
20
tried it a couple years ago. It was just a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. So we've kind of made it easy because our client base, you are our client base. It's families that own a business or own a family business, and it's small and mid-sized companies. But we just started looking at it and we say, man, out of this 2.3 trillion, why should only the Walmarts and
Right.
the big hospitals and everybody else get the money? Like
Yeah.
you're the one we saw with PPP. You're the one that kept people employed.
We
You're
did.
the one that kept things going.
We did.
Well, what I'd like to do, let's take a look.
Is this that thing you were talking about?
Yeah,
that
this is our
calculator?
calculator. And so I just have a few questions for you. So between both of your plants, how many employees do you have?
I mean, right now we're a little low, but I think like 120 is about our average.
Okay.
Yeah, 120.
Now, how many people do you hire per year? And when I say hire, I don't mean new job growth. I'm talking about like even for replacement or anything.
Just in
like
the
that.
shop part, or
No, altogether.
probably I would say about 20.
Okay. Well, that's good because there's actually, much like PPP, there's money available just for having staff, like the 120 you talked about. There's also money available potentially like every time you hire someone, even when you're replacing someone old.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, part of this is based on your annual payroll, much like PPP. You remember, like, whatever your annual payroll was?
Yeah,
bigger
they
the
had to
annual
base
payroll,
they based everything off of what the annual was,
got
and
it.
I know that number by heart. Ours right now is 4.3 million.
Okay. Now, did you take the ERC tax credit?
No, because we took PPP,
Oh,
so we weren't allowed to, right?
Well, that's what most people think, and and that was true for like 6-7 months, and there's a lot of confusion about it in the news, things like that. But actually, over time, they changed that, and you can actually take PPP and ERC together.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I did not know
it does
that.
reduce the amount of ERC you can get.
Well, that makes sense, but
Yeah, 'cause you already
I
got
just thought
some
because I
help.
took the other one because initially they said, yeah, you can't get both. So I just took the easy one, but that's interesting.
My last question then is, so I know you guys own this factory because I remember you saying that. Do you own the West Branch one?
Yeah, we own both of them. So this one, we got this one through your guys' commercial side.
Okay. What
Yeah.
year was that?
2011. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you did a renovation when you guys got here.
Mm-hmm.
How much was the renovation? I'm sorry. Between the purchase and the renovation.
I was going to say, I don't know how to break it out
What
because
did
it
you
was like
have
a lump
all in?
sum. I think it was total all in when we were said and done was 3.4 million.
Okay. And then West Branch,
Mm-hmm.
you own that or you rent it?
We own it. We didn't
Okay.
get that one through you guys. Sorry.
I see how it is.
It was because it was up there. 2014.
Okay.
And that one, we didn't do any reno. We just bought it flat out and it was like 2.7.
Okay. Now, favorite part of my job.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is going to do when you click this green button is it is going to go out there and it's going to search over 100 local, state, and federal programs just with that.
So this is the magic.
This is the magic.
All right. And
So
you're going to make me do it. Okay.
I'm going to make you do it. That way, if you break it, oh, look at that.
Wow. That's
$3.7 million.
That's a high number. I mean, I think you know your stuff and everything. We worked
Yeah.
together a long time. I trust you. That's a really high number. I have to be a little skeptical.
Let me break
about
down
that.
and show you some of these programs. So, for starters, because you're a manufacturer, there's this program called the R&D tax credit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just didn't think I was big enough.
Well, that's the difference, is so because we've developed software. Now, what I want to tell you real quick about the R&D tax credit. So that's your benefit amount per year.
Wow.
And I said per year because we're going to go out there and we're going to get you this benefit every single year. And you can see that across all of these. Now, the way this works, this is our tax management system. That's what
Okay.
you're seeing a picture of there. I want you to think of this like QuickBooks for tax incentives.
Okay.
So
Like it's a system.
it's a system, it's software. And in the same way with QuickBooks, you probably don't ever touch QuickBooks
Not anymore. Nope.
Nope. Yeah, staff would do
I
that.
do.
So staff go about their normal course of business. And what I mean by that is they go through and they send invoices, they
Right.
take payments, they, staff punches in and out, they log, their hours and
Right.
things like that. And in the background, it goes through and it calculates your payroll liabilities and
All the
taxes
stuff the
and all that
CPA
kind of stuff.
needs, everything.
Exactly. So this does the same thing. This is an HR platform that when you hire people, you got to store their resume somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And you got to log, some information about them.
A lot of
emergency contact
information,
info.
yeah.
Well, you do it in here instead of Google Docs or wherever you're probably loading it now.
I think it's all manual right now, to be honest.
So you enter it all in there in the same way your staff normally would, but the difference is with each interaction you have, our system goes and it searches hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. So here's the good news. This 3.7 million, that's just right now. We're actually going to keep going. So the person that you hire later this month or later this year or next year, we're going to keep getting you money. In fact, this WOTC one right here, that's every quarter.
Right, because you
Not that benefit every quarter,
but whatever,
you'll get benefit every quarter. The R&D tax credit, it's going to be more the first time we do it, but after that, you'll get it every single year. This commercial property benefit, I won't bore you with the details. It's called cost segregation, but I just call it commercial property benefit. Now, you mentioned you guys have an expansion coming up. So as an example, every dime you spend towards that expansion, the government wants to reward you for that.
So that would like tie in with this.
That would tie in for that. This program, these programs, all get renewed every single year. So we're going to be able to keep working with you year after year after year.
So let me get it straight. Like this is like a system kind of like my QuickBooks is,
Yep.
and my employees
Just
use
cheaper
it.
per month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we add stuff in, and as we add stuff in, like it's going to continue
Yeah.
to calculate and stuff like that. Now you said like obviously there's probably a fee because you said
Yes.
like
So it depends on the size of your company. In your guys' case, it's right here. It's $9 per month.
I mean,
Now,
you don't want to know what I pay for QuickBooks.
I don't want to know. I imagine you paid more for that than that Starbucks over on the table
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
or close to. So for you, it's $9 a month, and what that covers is, for some of these credits, we have to actually print stuff out when you hire. We
Right.
put stamps on it, send it off. You're just helping with some of the expense of that and the expense of the system. Now, where we both really win, we're not in business for $9 a month. It's right here. So let's take WOTC, for example. So every time you hire someone new, we're going to go out and you may get up to $2,400 or up to $9,600 for that new employee.
Okay.
And you can see here, we take 15% for that tax credit.
And then I keep the rest.
You keep the
so it's
other
like a
85.
finder's fee or processing fee type
got
thing.
it.
I mean, I've tried it. I can't do it. So if you say your system works that way and it's something that it can
Well, if we
do,
don't find anything, then you're out $9.
right. I
So-
think that's. I mean, I'm not. $9 isn't anything for me to spend to see how this works out for us.
So the way you'll do this is you're going to create a unique username and password, just like you would with QuickBooks. And that's
Okay.
going to be your owner username and password. And then on the first screen, you're going to assign some new people, like a manager or the other
Right.
people you want actually
and then you
doing the
guys
work.
take care of that. You like show them how to use the system
Yep.
or whatever. Okay.
They get a training onboarding if they choose, or a lot of people just like to watch a
Step by
video.
step type thing.
type
Okay.
thing.
I
They're going
mean-
to love the system, but more importantly, you're going to love how it works. So
I mean, yeah, I want to see more. So I'm okay. What do I do? Just fill this out right here?
just go ahead and pick a username and password. And, I want to tell you, that's it. For an existing contact, I'm not reading your comments on purpose. I'll come back to that in a few. But for an existing contact, Kendra, this is it. Like, nobody says no. In fact, even when we do this on a web process, when you're not there, we have over a 40% close rate, because who would say no to this? And when you combine that with an existing relationship, Kendra, like, again, no one's going anywhere, on this process. So we're going to answer your questions here soon, but that is an existing contact and what you can hope for and kind of see what that's going to look like.
And now we're going to take a quick look at a video from Ryan about the people that you don't know. And again, keep in mind, keep those questions rolling in because that's what's going to give us the feedback that we need. Let's take a look.
Let's talk about approaching someone that you don't have a relationship with. So in other words, they don't know you as Ryan the realtor, Ryan the financial service provider, or whatever the case is. And so you get to invent your identity, so to speak. Not invent, but you get to embrace the parts of it you want to. Well, what I would say is that you can feel tempted to build yourself up and position yourself as an expert in specialized tax incentives. I wouldn't do that, because you're never going to be able to study and train enough to be at the level of the subject matter experts that we have here. And so what I would do is position yourself as a professional as close to your lifelong industry as you can. Okay, so if that's consulting or legal work, financial services, real estate, accounting, whatever the case is, lean into that, but add into the division that you've added. And so the main difference here is that, again, if you position yourself as the expert and that's what you do, then you could get asked a question you don't know the answer to. If you position yourself as a consultant or as a service professional or whatever the case is that has a division like this, you always have that out where you can say, well, let's cover that on our call or whatever the case is. And you don't have to feel like you have to know every aspect of the tax code. That's what we're here for. So what that looks like is, I think, first educating people that there are programs for their industries, okay? And, in other words, leaning into the fact that I'm Ryan, we do these services, and part of what we do is we work with restaurants in Southeast Michigan to identify tax incentives, or something like that. And so you're positioning yourself mainly in your primary field, but you're adding in that part of what your company does is identify specialized tax incentives for insert their industry. Let's take a look at what that would look like.
All right. So I think Heather's internet is kind of frozen. So she's working from a different location today. Heather, can you, I guess, give me a quick thumbs up or something if you can hear us okay? Sorry about that. Or give us a shout in the comments if you can hear okay. I don't want anybody to miss that.
Looks like we're good.
Looks like we're good. Okay. Then I'm going to take us off screen, bring us back so I get a nice clean start for recording purposes. Hi, Kendra, is it?
Yeah. You said Ryan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice
How
to
are
meet
you?
you, Ryan. I'm good. I don't want to be rude, but your email and everything, I did want to talk to you. It was interesting, but I literally have a hard stop in like 25 minutes. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure we stay on track. Like I don't have
Yeah.
time to talk about a lot of
You don't
stuff.
want to chit chat. You don't want to know how many, you don't want me to ask how your kids' game went. Or
Not
anything like
really.
that? Okay, no problem. I get it. How about this? I'll fly through and you slow me down.
I'll
when-
stop you when I have a question.
Sounds good. I noticed though when I was coming in, I was looking at your showcase out there of all the parts you make. I didn't know. So you guys make the part of the headrest for Toyota.
Right. Yeah. We've done that. For like 15, 16 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this the main facility that you do that at?
Yeah. We have one part that we do at our other place, but yeah,
okay.
we put everything together here. So
Nice, nice. How many employees do you have all in?
between the two, about 120.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So not too big. It's
Yeah.
a small manufacturing
Did
company.
you get a chance to read my email? I can skip the pitch.
I
if you
did, but the reason, like honestly, I don't do this. I don't let people
Yeah.
come in and talk to me. But some friends of mine were talking about some stuff, and your email intrigued me, and
Yeah.
I figured I'd give you a quick chance. But like I said,
I get it. So we work with manufacturing companies, and I work specifically here with manufacturers in Southeast Michigan. And for the last 23 years, we've been identifying tax credits for manufacturing companies like yourself.
okay,
We kind of got put on the main stage a little bit with PPP. I'm sure you guys,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you take PPP?
yeah, for sure, it was
Yeah.
easy.
It was nice, right?
Yeah, made a big difference in being able to keep everybody employed and everything. So.
Yeah. Well, my job's gotten easier since then because people got like a taste of getting a tax credit
Right.
and what that would look like, or a government program, I guess. And so, before that, I used to have to convince people that programs like that existed.
I get that because I'm
Yeah.
skeptical. Like Like, I want to see what you have.
Yeah.
You said that like a couple things that intrigued me, but I'm super skeptical. I'm gonna
I
be
get it.
honest with you. I've been
Well,
burned in the past, and
Unlike PPP, most of the programs that I work with have been around for 3, 4, 5 decades, and
Okay.
they're all permanent. We don't deal in things that are temporary or fly by night or things like that. Because again, I mentioned that we've been doing this for 23 years. We've gotten clients $37 billion in identified credits, and
Wow.
we have 0 IRS disallowances.
okay. Well, I mean,
So to get, you asked for straight to the
and
point.
you said
so,
like 20 years or something.
23 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we have is we have software that goes out there and searches hundreds of local, state, and federal programs. And so rather than me tell you in theory what kinds of programs are available, the better thing for me to do is just talk about you. Now you're a manufacturer and you mentioned about 120 employees.
Right.
Now, that's good because every employee that you have, much like PPP, the more employees you have, the more credits you can get.
Yeah.
So the same is true every time you hire someone. Now, when I say hire someone, that could be job growth, new positions to your company, or it could be turnover. It doesn't really matter. What I'm talking about is somebody comes in and they fill out a new W-2 and hire in. How many people per year between all your locations are you hiring?
I would say about 20.
Okay. And so in that, how much is your annual payroll?
I wanna ask you a question because I
Okay.
feel like you're asking me questions like how, like, who gets this information? Like, are you going to
Yeah.
sell my information? Are people calling me
first
left
of all,
and right?
I mean, you can
What's
see the questions, and I understand that. 2 things I want to say. One is this is all going. I'm not writing anything down. This is going in our tax management software, so it can.
So this is your guys'
search-
software
Yes,
system right
this
here.
is ours.
Okay.
But the other part I want to say, you can see the questions here. It's nothing that we couldn't just pull up on InfoUSA.
Yeah,
or be able
yeah.
to- So I mean, what this is really used for is to show you, what you would qualify for.
Like
And
on a
again,
basic level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can use round numbers.
Okay.
Including, the officers, the owners, everybody.
Oh, I know our annual payroll by
Okay.
heart. Like, I don't have a question. It's 4.3 million. Like,
Okay.
I've been.
And then, did you guys take ERC?
No, because we did PPP.
Okay.
Like, you couldn't do both of them, right?
Well, actually, that was true for like 7 months, and then you could take both. They changed it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I had a guy who
That's-
told me I couldn't do it.
Most people do.
Yeah.
It's
It was a friend of a friend. I shouldn't have listened to him.
No, listen, there was so much misinformation out there, and that's why I say again, work with someone who this is what they do.
Right.
Right. And so
Okay.
that's all our tax division does. My last question, because you're in a hurry. Do you own this facility?
Yep. We own this one and one other one.
One other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 2 total. This one right here, I'm gonna fly through this. What year did you guys purchase it?
This one was 2011.
Okay. And so that's good. Because you purchased it, there's a tax incentive for that. And the more you spend, the more credit you're going to get. So between buying it, your initial renovation, things like that.
Okay,
how
because like when we
much-
bought it, we did a significant reno, and I know the total price. I don't know the separate. Like the total was 3.4 million
Okay.
between the reno and the purchase.
And what about the other location you mentioned? What year did you purchase
That
that?
was not far away. That was in 2014,
Okay.
and we paid less for that one. That one was 2.7 million.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you do the honors. And
You're smart. So this is going to give me like a number or something. Like
This is going to go ahead and click calculate. Okay. So $3.7 million in programs.
I'm be
You
honest.
probably
I'm
felt-
really skeptical. That's a
Well-
lot of money, Ryan.
How long did it take you to get over the skepticism of PPP?
I mean, the check came.
Exactly.
So-
So here's the thing. I'm not too worried about it. Let me go over these programs with you. I think
Okay.
some of them you've probably heard of. The first one I want to reference here is WOTC, WOTC.
Yeah, I know about that. It's
Yeah.
hard though. Like all my business owner friends are like, don't even bother because
It
it's
is.
just really hard.
If you're doing paper by hand,
Yeah.
submitting it in, that kind of thing. So we have, and you see a picture of it here, the tax management system. The way I want you to think of this is like QuickBooks for tax incentives. So you as an owner, you probably don't spend much time in QuickBooks these
Not
days.
anymore. No,
Okay.
thank God.
You have staff that do.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your staff's normal course of business, They send invoices, they clock in and out,
Right.
they take payments, they do all that. And in the back end, while they're doing the normal business they do, you're calculating payroll liabilities, you're calculating your taxes,
Right.
you're calculating your deductions, all
Right,
these
right.
things. This does the same thing. In the normal course of business, you probably have to upload a resume, take a W-2, fill out I-9 paperwork, all
Yeah.
these things. Okay, and you have to put those somewhere.
Yeah, we've tried systems before. It's crazy.
Well, the good news is about our system, when you're doing your normal course of business within our system, not you, but your staff, then in the background, every single interaction, we're going to go and we're going to look for hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. So if the person you're hiring, if their address matches to a national database, it happens to be part of a HUD zone, you get money. If they were previously unemployed for a period of time and maybe they lied on their resume about it, didn't tell
yeah.
you, and then what you're doing is you're bringing someone and there's workforce improvement credits. So things like that, we're going to go through and our software is going to detect every single time that you hire someone.
Okay.
Now, that's not just for the future. We're going to go back in time on your people, your human asset, and we're going to look at the last 3 years, and we're going to get you tax incentives on everybody, not just that works for you right now, but has ever worked for the last 3 years.
I didn't even know that was something you guys could do. Anybody could do.
Well, and on the property, the commercial property, the real property that we're going to look at, we can actually go back up to 20 years. So any expenditure you had, okay, purchasing of the building, those renovations you did, those things like that, there's tax incentives for it. And there's actually different tax incentives each year. So maybe in 2014, there was a larger tax credit for anybody that bought a manufacturing company and employed at least X number of people. That's my job.
So let
I
me
go find
let me
this.
get this straight. You guys made this software.
Yep.
And instead of me or my people having to do all that work, like as long as we
You
use
could never.
it.
I understand.
No, I
You
mean,
couldn't do that work.
Yeah, it's
a
just
CPA couldn't do that
yeah.
work. This is a
But
software
your system
job.
does it, and it's like QuickBooks. Like I pay for it every month, and it
Yeah.
processes, and like I just keep using it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just much less than QuickBooks. It's based on how many employees and how big your credit is and things. In your case, it's $9 a month. And what that does is that covers the cost of the HR platform. Also, we have to physically send, stuff in from time to time and things like that.
By $9 a month, as long as it's a secure system, I'm paying for it to be secure.
Yeah.
So that's nothing. I just wanted to understand like how that all works. So like I get my own account and
You
then
do. This is your account. It's your tax management system. Now, the real way that you make money, I make money, is right here. So you can see here for WOTC, I'll use it as an example. So you could get anywhere from nothing to $2,400 to $9,600 for each person you bring in. And that's a quarter. We process those every quarter. So it's quarterly money. The R&D credit is annual money, but for WOTC, as an example, let's say we get you $2,400 because you hired someone. You would keep 85% of that, and we would get 15%.
like a finder's fee,
Yeah,
like
like
type.
a processing fee for us
that
going
makes
through and doing
sense.
that.
That's not something. I mean, I work with lots of different
Yeah.
things that work that way. So I don't like. I feel honestly, I'm still skeptical, and I want to
fine.
talk more maybe later. But I feel like you know what you're talking about because
Yeah.
I talked to somebody before you came in to see if you'd know what you were talking about. But you sound legit, and for $9, I don't mind moving forward and seeing what this can do for us.
Well, the next step is much like QuickBooks, you're going to create a master account that's going to
Yeah.
be your username and password. And then, much like QuickBooks, as soon as you're in, you're going to assign maybe a manager, maybe an HR manager, maybe a couple of managers. You can have users. And for that $9, we actually don't charge by the user. So
I was just going to ask because
Nope.
all my other systems do.
exactly. No, we don't. Listen here, at the end of the day, I don't mean to, it's not about the $9.
No.
It's about going
Yeah.
in and having.
I mean, if you can deliver on even
credits.
one of these, then I think it's
If we
worth
get you one
looking at.
$2,400 credit every 10 years,
Yeah.
then the system's more than paying for itself. So
Yeah, I think I'm in. I want to move forward with it.
So pick your username and password. And folks, that is that's how it works. And I know you might think, oh, Kendra's just being easy on you or whatever the case is. But no, listen, why would someone have difficulty with this? Kendra, talk about, they're used to subscriptions.
Right. And the way that we approach it, it's I feel like maybe some partners don't understand how to transition into the fact that it's a system that you use. And so therefore they get to that part, they kind of fumble and they don't really know how to handle it. If you transition the way that Ryan did, it's natural and it makes sense. Otherwise, how in the world are we doing all this work for them and working within their organization to make sure that we can collect these tax incentives and credits for them? There has to be some way that we're able to deliver on that. And the way that we're able to deliver on that is the TMS system. And I guarantee you, the only times that I've really seen an issue with any client having an issue with the monthly fee is when you guys make it an issue. And I don't mean to like just put it on you. Don't make it an issue. Like most SaaS systems are $59 a month and higher. That's like the baseline. Ours is $9 so that we can actually pay to have it out there. Like that's what that covers. We're not making money on that.
No.
And if you had presented that to someone and there was no fee, but it's a system, it raises a red flag.
That's it right there. Before we started charging a fee, we would let people come in, use our system. And I want to tell you, our doc upload rate was in the single digits. In other words, someone comes in, and we did this for years and years. I'm talking 15 years ago. And people would come in and we'd say, hey, we're going to find you the R&D tax credit. Just upload your tax returns. Nothing. You know what happens when you charge $9 and someone's in there? Our upload rate on documents is, you know, on at least one of the services is close to 100%. And Kendra, that's because when someone pays for something, it has value. So to me, would I rather bring on, you know, some people say, hey, what if you got rid of the $9? You could bring in unlimited people. Right. And then my staff could chase unlimited ghost. Okay. I would rather know that we have real clients, because if they're not willing to pay $9, then are they going to be willing to pay us $250,000 our cut on their tax credit? No, they're not, because they're not vested at all. So I didn't mean to get passionate about that. A couple of questions that I want to start throwing up. This is powerful information. Thank you. Kendra, this one right here, how can we go back 3 years? So I was referencing the R&D tax credit, and actually at some points it's 4 and 5 years. I just like to say 3 because I like to under promise. You want to take that one or you want me to?
Go ahead.
I'll let you get a drink. So I'll even switch cameras. So that's how fancy we are. When we switch cameras, it's mostly so someone can
They
cough
drink
or
tea
get a
on the
drink or-
news. I
Yeah,
can drink
exactly.
tea, right?
So when somebody goes through and they do an R&D, okay? So let's say right now, it depends on time of year, but let's say right now it's March 4th, okay? So most people have not closed their 2023 yet, which means 2023 is the open year. Pop quiz, what year is it right now? If you said 2024, you're wrong. It's 2023 right now. That's the open year, which means we can do 22, 21, and 20 are the 3 back years, plus 23, which is the open year, plus 24. So that's where I say sometimes we can do 5 years. So that's how far we're allowed to go back. Now, on cost sake, we can go back 20 years. So great question on that.
I do want to capture something real quick. So those of you who have a top of the hour hard stop, we
Wow, time
understand.
went
I can't believe
quick.
it's 4. We understand and we
I'm so
appreciate
sorry.
you spending the hour with
we
us.
spend so much time trying to leave time for
But
this.
we normally, you will get a copy of today's video within your wrap up email. So don't worry if you miss anything. That doesn't mean you can drop off if you don't have an appointment. If you have to go at the top of the hour, understand. I'll make sure that you do get the reference material and everything like that.
Yeah. Another question. You mentioned on cost sake, you can go back 20 years. How does that work? Kendra, I'll take this question if you want to tee up our next one. So we can actually go back more than 20 years. The reason we say 20 years is that's usually where the ROI fall off happens. If you want to understand how cost seg works, let me flip over. We kind of lost Heather. So I'm on my own. Sorry, guys. So if on the Toolbox homepage, there is cost seg and R&D. And so you can come here to commercial property. And there's actually a video where, as part of that video, I break down, here it is right here. It's about 8 minutes in. I'm not going to play it right now. But I break down how depreciation works and all this. So we can actually go back more than 20 years. But the short of it is that's usually anything older than 20 years if they've made no renovations, there might not be a
It's not
benefit.
feasible to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to really be there. So
Great question from Sandra. She says, what about when they're skeptical and think their CPA is doing it and they trust them, but their CPA isn't getting them anything? Now, Sandra, Ryan had this line that he shared, years ago, and it kind of really dispels this, because when somebody says, well, my CPA handles that for me, your next question will be, oh, that's great. How much did you get last year?
yeah.
And they're like a deer in headlights that they didn't get anything, or they don't know. If they don't know, that means they didn't get.
I don't tend to find any CPAs do this except
Right.
some big four
And what
accounting
Ryan's
firms.
showing you right now, Sandra, is a spot in the toolbox where you can actually find this question and a rebuttal to it.
This is under verbal scripts.
Yeah. So take a moment. It's under the script page, about 3/4 of the way down. There's several of them that are listed there.
I'm always just real polite about it. That's good. We actually work with CPAs. What we tend to find is that CPAs will take a few of the credits we look at, but we actually look at hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. So I actually work in partnership with your CPA to help implement these tax credits. So that way I'm not saying, no, your CPA didn't do this. I'm just kind of saying, okay, cool. I'm glad they've done some of these. I look at hundreds though, and I'm going to work with them. Great question.
Great question from Jack. Not every prospect owns the property. What can we do for leaseholders? Jack, when leaseholders have put a significant amount of money into the property, they also can benefit from cost segregation. There's an article that support can share with you, but basically, if it's a leaseholder and you say, well, did you do any significant improvements? And they say, yes, we have. And it's, more than 50,000, it's up there. It's probably a couple $100,000. Then yeah, we can do cost segregation for them too. They're the benefit person of the interest that money went into the property. So great question.
I have one that I wanted to share while you're looking for your next one. With manufacturing being the focus this month, will the email templates be made available to non-premium? So let me flip over to that. So under email templates, and I just want to show you that. Oh, the comment is blocking my...
Yeah, I had to
There you
remove
go.
mine too.
Thank you. So under email templates, the vast majority of our email and social templates are free. They're not part of premium. I don't have you on this broadcast today to try to sell you premium. Although if this is a gig that you want to be significant revenue, then that's something you should look at. There's extra tools that are here. But so here's a bunch of emails that are all not part of premium. And
And
here's
they
some
work.
right here, the R&D tax credit, they work just fine. What you will see is under HTML, and let me show one as an example. So here's a manufacturer's one. These cost us money, and so they are part of premium, which is $99 a month. This is an HTML email. It's one of many. It has a video embedded. That's your video, by the way. And this is where some of the cost comes in, is we have to do hosted information for each and every partner. We have to do hosted video. Like this video and all of these are tied back to you as an individual partner. So all that hosting kind of costs money. So yeah, we've got some splashier stuff in premium, but I do want to show you one other thing. And let me go back to the homepage for a moment. So on the homepage, if I scroll to that first slice, it says manufacturers earn more. Check out the R&D toolbox. So if you come here, here's an R&D training. Here's some industries that qualify. Here's some scripting. Here's some email templates. Here's some social posts. Two of them are premium, 2 are not. So good question. I do respect that. We do and are probably always going to have some content, some explainer videos, some extra content that's available for advisors that choose to pay for premium, but we really do try to put a lot out there that doesn't require premium, because our goal isn't to it's not like when you log into a Canva account and you're like, every good graphic is premium. We're not trying to do that. Some stuff costs us a lot more money to produce. And so, we got to kind of, have some expense share there. So good question on that one. Kendra, what do we have next?
I think this question we kind of addressed, and I think we actually dispelled it during the role play. But Michael says, can you address the reluctance of small business owners in revealing their business information to a stranger? The information that we're actually asking them is so basic. It's information that you can get on Manta
Yeah.
or anything like that. We're not asking them for their EIN or their social security numbers or anything of that nature. Information and documentation comes after we've actually shown them that it's feasible to move forward, and they have all of that and they have that confidence at that point. So if they are reluctant, like I was, you just have to dispel it and literally say, I'm not asking for anything invasive. This is actually just basic information to show you your calculation. And I mean, that's the correct answer because that's the truth.
Yeah.
And it should dispel that.
I love this one right here. Millionaire mindset. I wish I knew who you were because I really love this question.
Millionaire Mindset, you should tell us what your name is somehow. You can email it in or
so
something.
what are some common challenges employers face when implementing WOTC? Well, the first thing I want to do is, let's see here. So on our, I can't talk in partners. Okay. On our YouTube channel, first of all, there is, I'm looking for the WOTC. Oh, it's going to be under lives. So you go to live and Kendra, I'm looking for the service portfolio. To be honest, I don't remember if it's going to be in part 1. So mastering your service portfolio, the part 1 right here. So in this one right here, I go through and talk about WOTC in great detail. This is what I was looking for. And I break down what it takes for someone to
Manually
take
do the
WOTC
process.
manually and what the difficulty is. And one of the things I walk through is what's called there it is right there. So I'm at, if you don't feel like listening to the whole thing, 44 minutes, because I wouldn't want to listen to me for 44 minutes. So I call it the WOTC lottery and what it takes to get this. And so I wish I could go through it all now, but the short is an incredible amount of paperwork. But here's the biggest thing. So I hire someone and I fill out paperwork and then I send it in. 90 days later, I find out if they're going to qualify or not. Well, we have a predictive system that's actually going to go in real time while you're deciding if you want to hire this person. And what you're looking at right here is an example of that, where imagine you had 10 people that you were looking at, and I could say, hey, I'm going to predict with a really good degree of certainty that candidate 2 and candidate 7 come with $2,400 tax incentives. So if you want, as a business owner, you can tap into that. And that's all part of the power of the tax management system. So good question there. I love these questions. I'm so sorry we didn't get here sooner. I thought we were doing so good on time.
Just looking back to catch some of the people who had questions earlier. So if you had a question earlier and maybe we didn't get to it, feel free to pop it down. A lot of you guys were asking about the fee. Like, is it only $9 for everybody? So the fee is just literally calculated off of the number of employees that they have. And it doesn't go over like $19. Like
And
literally.
the number of people they hire.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit more dynamic than that, but I understand. It could be $5. It could be $9. Listen, there's some $49 and $99 accounts for
We have some
larger
large
companies.
clients, but they don't have a problem with it because the benefit far outweighs their monthly fee. They don't even see the monthly fee because the benefit far, far outweighs that.
Listen, we have staffing companies. I don't want to scare you out, but we have staffing companies that pay us over $1,000 a month just in processing fees. They don't care. They're making, hundreds of millions of dollars. So they understand a payroll company or a staffing company definitely understands the value, because most of them in the ERC game just made, they netted tens of millions of dollars. And it takes a lot for a company to net tens of millions of dollars. So companies don't care about the fee. Partners care about the fee
Right.
when they're first getting started.
But you have to stop.
For small companies, we just charge $5.
Right.
If they're not willing to pay $5, that's like my, it's the big step on the playground that keeps the little kids away.
Yeah. Noel has a good question. He said, have there been many situations that our advisors or partners actually are able to sit down and have these conversations with business owners? Maybe this is a silly question, but so many people avoid this. I agree 100% up until about a year ago. With COVID, I think everybody used it as this excuse for a long time to continue not to have face-to-face or to continue to kind of ignore situations where you might want to meet. I think that with the information that we're using right now to reach our potential clients, it's quite intriguing. And if you do it in the right way, you're going to capture their attention. And you do have to continue to kind of reach out to them. And if for some reason they're not willing to meet you face to face, but there's an interest there, they're going to reply. And you have lots of different options in how you want to communicate with them. You could offer, if they don't want to meet you in person, you could offer coffee, getting out for coffee, if they don't want you to come to their business. Or you could offer a virtual option, or you could literally send them the link and walk them through it via email. You have so many options available to you today in this day and age on ways to communicate that it's just every option is available to you. But I have seen, as of a year ago, people are wanting to engage face to face. And one of the things that works really well is asking for the coffee meeting, because like how many people are really going to turn down coffee? And it's usually in a public place and they can up and leave if they want to. So especially if it's a warm contact, offer that coffee meeting and you're going to get that direct face to face probably every time.
Another good one I like here is what if we get to them after the deadline? Can we still help them? This is the beauty about what we do. There's always a tax deadline. There are the kind of federal deadlines, which some of our client base file in the March 1st through April 30th range, but a lot of our clients file from August 1st through October 30th. But then there's quarterly payments due all the time. So at any given time, you're maybe a few weeks to a month and a half away from a tax deadline. So that's the beauty. You're always just a sneeze away from someone owing the IRS money. Good
Noel
there.
brought something up, and I want to share this because there's been a lot of questions about this. So I want to use his answer to answer you guys. I've seen a lot of questions about how do you work with a CPA? How do you not offend the CPA if you're working with their client? And Noel answered it perfectly. He's probably heard us say this, and he's probably used it. We work side by side with your existing firm. We don't in any way overstep. They still have to take what we provide and file for you. Like they still have their role, and that's what their role has always been. They just can't do the work before that point. That's where we come in. So he answers it perfectly. We work side by side with your existing CPA firm to enhance the already exceptional work they do. We specialize in many different areas to maximize your credits. Perfect answer, Noel. Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly how we want the interaction on these calls to go.
I like this one. So here's a question, and it had 2 thumbs up. I didn't even know you could thumbs up comments, but I like that. Thumbs up your comments if you want to see them answered live so that I know more people are interested. So it says, I wish more people knew about cost seg. I love this line so much. It's like I'm speaking a foreign language to them. I could not agree more. And that's why I never use the term. Okay. Now, I say never. I rarely use the term. Okay. So in our email campaigns, in our websites, like we have to give some meat to what it is. But when I'm talking, and you heard this earlier, I say commercial property benefit. And in fact, I think in our sliders, I wish I could pull up right now, I believe it says commercial property benefit, not cost segregation.
It does.
The other one, while you're on the topic, is I hate R&D. If I'm I don't hate R&D. I hate the name R&D. I love R&D.
It doesn't actually explain the credit because it's the old name. It's the name it was originally given because that's what it was for research and development. It has evolved so far past that it doesn't actually relate back to what it's the extent of the industries, I should say, that it's given to.
What I like saying when I'm talking about, and I might have used this, we like practice that role play just so we didn't like knew what our numbers were. But by and large, I mean, we just kind of free float it. And I think I might have said in there, I said manufacturer's payroll credit is usually what I call it. Now, when I get into actually like selling it on the chart, then a lot of times I'll be like the R&D tax, because at that point I'm trying to turn it into. But there's something else I want to say there that wasn't a question. I want you to notice that at no point in there did I become the expert. Okay. Now I've been doing this 23 years. I have personally overseen tens of billions of dollars in tax incentives personally. I've personally attended virtually all of our IRS audits. Much people are going to, oh, the IRS audit. No, listen, every once in a while, IRS has questions about, and I've attended those hearings. I've defended our reports. We have had 0 IRS disallowances. And what I'm saying by that is I am the expert, okay? But I don't ever talk in an expert term. I still use terms like we, they, we have a team that, well, a production team, that kind of thing. Because the minute I go through and I start talking in terms of expertise, I'm down that path with them. And when I was doing my role play with Kendra, if I had went through and started talking about accounting or said CPA, you almost got to think of it like, 7 dirty words of television you're not allowed to say. Like, don't say legal, don't say lawyer, don't say CPA, don't say accountant, don't say any of that unless they bring it up. Because really what you're presenting yourself is I'm going to say it again. Hi, Kendra. I work with manufacturers in Southeast Michigan, and I help find local, state, and federal tax incentives. I've been doing that for 23 years. We've developed software that goes out and searches. I mean, if I could give you my pitch I just did, and I hope you got it, and if not, then it is
Show them where it's at.
right here under Verbal Scripts. Because while Kendra may write, and her team, can you get rid of that comment just for so my screen's there? While she may write most of the email templates, that's because they have to pass spam filters and all kinds of fancy stuff to get through. But these scripts right here, this is how I talk. This is what I say. Hey, Kendra. So, we've set up this division because this year there's 2.3 trillion available for small businesses. We've added a quick calculator on my website. Let's take a look. Everything you heard me say about ERC and PPP have been huge lifesavers the last 2 years. Congress didn't renew either program, but they did add 2.3 trillion in programs just like ERC. We built a quick calculator. I end every sentence in "we've added a calculator" because I don't want to give them the chance to think about something else. So Kendra, if I'm talking to you and I say, I work with manufacturers in Southeast Michigan, I help find tax credits. We built software. That's why I love being in person. Leave your house, guys. Leave your office. Get out there in person, because if you email someone, they can quit and move on to the next thing. But it's really hard when you're right here. And by the way, get yourself an iPad or iPad mini. Don't be walking in there with some jumbo Dell, whatever. Okay. You know why? Because you're not going to have Wi-Fi. Go get the cellular model so you don't have to hop on their computer. I love this is the iPad, like the 11-inch one. This is
perfect.
This is perfect. I have the keyboard case. It's like $400. I leave it in the car. This right here. Let me zoom. I'm gonna steal your camera for a minute. So look at that. Okay. This is perfect. It's not intimidating. And we happen to be on the right side same side of the table. Usually I'm across. Like, it's so easy and
It's like a piece of paper. It's easy to share. It's not intrusive. It just really works. And it kind of, what you're saying right now, Ryan, leads to answer a couple of questions like Sateria. And Noel, I am so sorry. I called you Noel, and I apologize.
Oh.
I am so sorry. It's Noel. A couple people have asked, where should I be sending them? And you answered this very clearly. Like, am I trying to get a phone call? Am I like the app's age is old? We are wanting to send them to your pages. Your pages are your calculator. And what is the closing rate? Like 37%. If you can get them there and get them to start filling out the information.
Like all over the place. Like every hyperlink that Kendra ever has in one of these scripts, the email templates, anything. So like right here, there it is right there. Now that's my page. You're welcome to use it, by the way, but know that
Your
when
client's
sales
going to fill it out for
Kendra and I
Ryan.
get the commission. But this page right here, you're going to use that page. I want to show you another example. So let's say you're out there and you're specifically talking to commercial property owners, which I would strongly, strongly recommend. Okay, it's going to lead to everything else we do. So I'm sorry, I went to the Toolbox homepage, scrolled down a hint. I went to Cost Seg Toolbox. I come here, there's a video. You don't need to see that. But here's your Cost Seg page. And it's in your email templates. I'd bookmark this on your iPad, and I love this page right here. The page that you just saw me using in the live role play was just our regular .me page. But Kendra, this page right here, I like this for if you're like emailing to someone, because it's got an explainer video from Kendra and I. They can check their eligibility. But here's the thing. I don't care if you send them if you pull up a blog article or whatever, you should have like a whole toolbox folder on here.
Right.
Guess where everyone leads? At any given moment on any page, you are one click away from your calculator. This is what Heather had up during the first role play. Kind of lost her during the second role play. I think she went out for coffee. I can say that because she can't.
I want
hear
to
me
share
right now.
with what you're talking about. So Denise is on fire. I'm going to share another. Denise's last message that I shared said that she actually was with a manufacturer, got on her own computer and signed up. And I actually see Denise's post, like she's got her socials on LinkedIn and everything. So Denise, you're going to get a little gift from me coming up because you're just on fire right now. Her other question is like sometimes her hyperlink doesn't work. And this is something that I put in and my team puts in. Sometimes when you're copying and pasting, the links kind of wig out a little bit on you. And I can't, like, I want to make it work every time, but I can't. So always be checking for that. Sometimes it happens. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the cut and paste. I don't know if it's the system or whatever. So just always double check that your link is live and active before you hit send or before you hit post, because we want you, that work that you're out there doing, I want that to work for you. So unfortunately, it is something that we run into every once in a while. Just be checking it. And Denise, like I said, she's on fire. She's got her posts are everywhere. I follow her on LinkedIn. Dennis has a good question that's kind of off in a different direction, and I'm going to answer it. Are there any updates to the counties that qualify for disaster? So what he's talking about is ERC actually started with ERC disaster relief. That's been around since the 90 something. I don't remember, but for several years. And they actually haven't updated their list in about 3 years. There is an article that I read recently that said that we should be seeing that come out shortly. So I think the IRS is just a little in over their heads right now, and we're just going to keep our eye on that. And when it does come out, we will update our system accordingly.
I got one while you're. So I like this. No benefit, no fee. When they do get a benefit, how do we collect the money? So first of all, the fee's different by service, and that's all kind of documented there when they're picking what services that they want to, implement there. And the answer is it depends on the service. So, give an example with WOTC, we're going to send them, depending on the size of their company, quarterly or annual, depending on the size of the credit. We're going to send that to them, and we're going to send them their credit forms that their CPA needs to file. And we're going to send that along with an invoice. And most clients just pay via credit card. They have a credit card on file, so they pay for it. For cost seg, it's the same thing, but because the benefit is instantaneous, the fee is also that. If I were giving on average, like most WOTC clients pay via credit card, like virtually 100% of cost seg clients pay on credit card. R&D, because it's manufacturers, they tend to have like a payroll process, and they tend to want to mail in a check, but that's fine. So, we go through that. But to answer your question, most clients just click on a form and pay us via credit card. And we don't mind that. We don't, the fee's well worth it in terms of getting your cash flow that quickly. So good question.
Denise Holiday has a good question. So we do work with, or many of you, I should say, work with and partner with CPAs who have their own account, I should say.
Yeah.
And will run their clients within the system to see what the benefit is. And she's saying, like, how does that work for them being multiple companies? It just depends on their structure. Some of the CPA organizations actually, through different structures, actually run the finances for those businesses so they can run it in their name. Yeah. Like, it really depends on how the company is structured. Sometimes they'll run it through the system and it'll be, whatever it is. And we just run it like it's its own, it's like its own client card. So they're a CPA, they're just like you. They run each of their clients through the system.
We have some CPAs that just will bookmark your website, and they just go and add them all the time. That leads to another question that I want to touch on. So what do you do if the conversation I'm going to take two questions. Kendra, can you find Gerald's in just a second after I read this one? What to do if the conversation transitions into follow-up meeting to speak to another owner, or if they ask for the expert to answer further questions that we can't answer. So really good one there. Did you see the Gerald McAdoo
I'm pretty ways
one?
back and I do not see it.
So this one says, all questions should be directed towards a discovery call, but if the R&D is the main and the largest benefit of interest, how do we address their concern that the R&D credit is or being eliminated, especially if they've taken it in previous years? Okay, so the R&D tax credit isn't being eliminated. It's a permanent credit. Obama actually made it permanent. Before that, it had to be renewed every year. There's subsections of it that get added onto every year, and there's subsections that get taken away. But it's a permanent credit that's in there. But the part that both of those had in there was something called discovery call. And I want to touch on this for a minute. So for those of you that may not know, a discovery call is a meeting between you, the client, and a subject matter expert. For a lot of years, discovery call was the only way we did business. In fact, what you would do is you would go in and you'd build a client card, and then we'd have a meeting, and then we'd send a proposal and things like that. And this is a very important part of the process. But what we've changed now is it used to be, I don't know if my visual's going the right way, but either just stick with me. So create a client card, have a discovery call, then, send a proposal, then they become a paying client. Well, the longer the sales cycle, the more off ramps there are. Okay, the more times there are for a client to fall apart and things like that. So what we do now is you take a client to .me and you assume they're going to sign up. And when they ask a question, kind of like Gerald was saying, or forgive me because I unstarted and I can't actually see the name, so I'm sorry, the first question we had, when they have a question or another partner they want you to meet with or whatever the case is, a good way to do that is assume the sale. In other words, you're talking to them and you're saying, okay, Kendra, that's a really great question. I think if you wanted to have your partner on the implementation call, this is $9. You don't have to move forward. I don't think you need partner approval for $9. If you want to cancel, you can cancel. What I'd recommend is that you cover that during implementation with our implementation specialist. So try to do that. But then let's say you can't get past that. They're just hardcore. I don't want to pass the $9 until I have the answers to my questions. What you can do in the client card, reach out to support if you can't figure this out. There's a button in the client card that says book a discovery call. But the thing I want you to understand, I don't want to say this is like last resort, but sorry if I was disengaging. I was looking at the wrong camera for the last 5 minutes. So I don't want to say like discovery call is last resort, but understand when you have a discovery call, our people are going to do their job. They're going to share technical details with the client, and they're very good at closing. But there's an expectation when you show up talking to an expert that there's going to be a decision made. So you get your person on with Chris, or with Kate, with Steve, with any, whoever your team leader is. The problem, man, like Kate and Chris, everybody just named everybody on our team, like they're going to kill your deal for you. They're going to crush it. When I say kill, not kill, they're going to kill it for you. And honestly, Kate has absolutely crushed so many cost seg deals and, so many ERC deals and things like that. So I don't want to take away from that. But I guess the part I'm trying to say is that 99 deals out of 100 are going to close right here. And if Kate or Chris or whoever is going to come to the table, they're in such a stronger position if they're showing up to the table to a paying client, because then they can sit back and say, hey, as part of your system, let me talk to you about all your credits. And then they can convert credits. So here's what you want your person doing. You don't want them closing your $9 TMS. You should be doing that. What you want them doing is converting that $9 TMS into millions of dollars in tax credits by talking them into submitting their docs, by talking them into referrals. You know what else team leaders are great at? And all of our subject matter experts? Building partnerships. So what you want to do is don't weigh in on them closing your $9 account for you. I promise you're capable of that. Then book a discovery call. Because now all of a sudden Kate gets to show up and say, hi, I'm Kate. I see that you've already been in the system. I see that we already got you $300,000. Let's talk about your other companies you own. Let's talk about underpayment audit. Let's talk about these other services. Let's talk about your CPA and what partnerships we can build. So really good question there. Kendra, did I effectively?
I think so. It just adds, it adds an element that isn't necessary at that point. I think it's kind of jumping the gun.
Kate, let me know if I explained that right.
For where they're at in the process. We did have a quick question.
Gerald would know. He said, awesome, thank you. He's done enough discovery calls to know. So thanks for that, Gerald. I'll put his name up so you can prove. Gerald said awesome. I didn't just make that up.
Question about, so Basil has a question about, like, once they become a client, what happens next? Do we step aside as a partner and leave GMG to take over? And do you keep us up to date with everything regarding that client? They're always your client. So once they have activated their tax management system, there's still a lot of steps that have to take place. Like, we have to do documentation, confirmation, and things like that. And sometimes if we're not able, or production isn't able to gather that information in a timely manner, we may sometimes ask you to reach out to the client and kind of prod them a little bit, especially if you have a warm connection with them.
Yeah.
So we can keep that client moving forward. Outside of that, once they're in and we're actively moving forward with tax credits for them, your involvement is very little because the system takes over.
Yeah, you get to really focus on being the relationship at that point and also selling the other services. Like, when I say other services, I mean your services, your financial practice, your consulting practice, whatever the case may be. I'm sorry, did you just have a question up?
It's okay. Go ahead
I'm
with
sorry.
yours.
On R&D, please clarify. Oh, see, it moved around on me.
How quickly they'll receive their money.
Okay. Not the one I just was moused over another one. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, I'll answer them both. The other one that I was trying to click on, or maybe I just misread your question, Robin, is how they receive their money. I think I misread your question. So how quickly, from the time they file, depends on time of year, 60 to 90 days from the time they actually file, from the time they engage us, maybe close, 90 days. How they receive their money is a really fun story. Kendra, this is so often a physical check from the IRS.
Yeah, and when they get that check, the impression that leaves on them is kind of insane.
Yeah.
And you'll see, like, you'll follow your client in the client card. The timeline is, like Ryan said, it's all going to depend on where we are at in their tax cycle for the year. It can be anywhere from like 3 months to 8 or 9, just depends on where they fall on their annual filing. But when you see in their client card that they've been invoiced, that means that their check is coming. Like, they're going to be receiving it any day. We can't tell when that happens. We have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
We don't have access to that information. But it is a good time to reach out and touch base with them, maybe like a month or two after you see that in the client card, to see how they're doing.
We're going to answer 2 more questions. While Kendra's teeing those, I want to leave you with some. First of all, I need your help for next month. In the comments right now, I want everybody to enter. We're not going to take more questions other than the ones you've already entered, but I want you to enter what you want us to talk about next month. Okay? What do you need? What do you want? We want you to make massive commissions. So the real question is, what do you need in order to be able to make massive commissions? What do you want me to talk about? You got me for an hour next month, or apparently an hour and a half if it's anything like this month. So do that. The second part, I want you to understand, while Kendra's teeing up those final questions, on the Toolbox homepage, let me get back to it, there is a banner there for 50 clients in 50 days. Okay, and at the end of the day, listen, there's got to be like kitschy 50 clients in 50 days, things like that. But at the end of the day, tax season is really closer to 60 days. So why don't you get 60 clients in 60 days? And so this has some stuff on. It's been updated for your March edition. Who to focus on, what to say, what to send, what to email. Kendra's got brand new social posts, if I scroll down far enough, that she's pulled in, to go through that. There's some videos there, lots of stuff in your March blueprint. If you do nothing else, go follow this letter by letter and, get those clients going that way. My other thing I would leave you is go sell cost seg. Okay, 800% increase on our website. It's high demand right now. People want it. You can either go out there and say, look over here, this is what you want to do, or you can follow the wave that's happening. People are hungry for cash flow. Cost seg is the quickest way for cash flow. So 2 more questions, Kendra, fire away.
Cameron has a good, hers is a statement / question. Isn't it correct when I say that I'm basically a headhunter? I need to find businesses that need what we do, and I bring them to you guys, and you guys take it from there. Is that the correct thinking? I've never thought of it that way, but that's absolutely correct. Like, you are the connection between what we do and what they need. So that's a great analogy. And then lots of people saying about that. Let me back up. There was one up here. I'm going to use Liddell and I'm going to move it into what we're offering for the month because we didn't get to that part. So Liddell says, I have contacts that are head of manufacturing association. How do you deal with the associations? And then we saw there was a question earlier today that said, since we're focusing on manufacturing for the month of March, are there emails and social posts available for that? So as part of your wrap up and kind of your take action that I always do at the end of every call, your 50 and 50 page has been updated as of today. And there are new emails in addition to the ones that were there last month. Those are still there too. But there's new ones for R&D. There's also new social posts. There is new scripting, basically added in everything that you need to make manufacturing your focus for the month of March. And on the question about associations and stuff, you really have a great opportunity to meet with like one of the organizers of the association because you have a benefit that they could utilize for their entire group. And they're always looking to add benefit to their group. Like that's their whole purpose. So that should be your in with them, is just trying to connect with them. Like I have a benefit that you could offer to your entire organization. I want to show you how it works. It should be at no cost and get in there and show them the calculator that they could utilize.
Kendra, I saw a lot of questions about social media. And, I want to tell you, so like if you go over to like social post, for example, and people want to know social media strategies and things like that. So I'm going to scroll down. There's a lot of social posts here, but right here, move beyond the basics. That's one. And then here's a bigger ad for it if I keep scrolling down. No, there's not. Okay. So right here, move beyond the basics, explore marketing masterclass. So this is a course that Kendra and I did along with members of our marketing team, and it's marketing masterclass. If you want, it's free, part of premium. So if you're in premium, this is the kind of stuff. And in there, there's how to build your social presence, why to have a targeted approach in your presence, how to use the explainer videos, email campaigns that actually work. When you're doing this, though, it's actually our marketing experts walking you through how to build a campaign in LinkedIn or in Facebook, how to do like a paid ad campaign, like literal screenshots.
Sorry, guys. The static is our air conditioner, and it's set to turn back on at 4:30, so we apologize.
Yep, because it was like 78 in here with the lights. So when you're going through that, it's got like takeaway sheets, all kinds of stuff. So listen, that's part of premium. Several of you people I saw asked about that. So you'll see it all over the toolbox. When you see Marketing Masterclass or Move Beyond the Basics, you'll see it's Specialized Tax Division. There you go. You'll see those in there, and all you have to do is click on that. If you're in premium, you get full free access to all four parts. If you're not, then it's a reason.
It's a program that we developed. We took like 8 or 9 months to get all that together. It's a lot of information. It's a great I call it a class. It's a great amount of information, and it's really delivered in like format like university, like online university type information.
You'll see it at the bottom of the homepage too. There's access to Quick Start. There's access to Masterclass. There's access to more training, like all that. But Masterclass is right there on the bottom of the homepage under basically like level up your game. So yeah, you could go there and check that out and get direct access. So
I want to
good
add,
questions today.
Thank you so much for your involvement and your feedback and interaction. It makes what we do worth it. We put a lot of effort and time into developing the monthly broadcast for you, and to see that it's of benefit to so many of you really helps kind of keep us striving to give you more and to provide you more and make it even better every year or every month. When you do have a question, maybe there's something that we weren't able to get to today or something else pops up, please reach out to the support department. That's what they're there for. They're amazing women, and they love, love, love helping you guys kind of move forward and reach that success level that we know that you're capable of.
Go sell cost seg.
April 15th, we have 40 days.
Okay. Or commercial property benefit. Okay, what do? You go out there and you talk to someone that owns a commercial property. I'm gonna leave you with this. There's still enough of you on here. You ready for this? Kendra, you weren't planned for this. Hey Kendra, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Remember, lean into the existing relationship, whatever it is. How's your car insurance going? How's that? whatever.
You
How
got me a
is-
great plan. You were able to reduce it, but it's still a lot. So we'll have to talk. We'll have to circle back
We'll
on
talk
that.
about that. So, with the rising cost, see what I did there? And we didn't pre-plan this, by the
No.
way. Okay, you can just lean in. So what you're going to do, here's the formula, okay? You're going to lean into the relationship. You're going to make reference of it, okay? Once you've done that, you've chit-chatted for a while, you're going to talk about your new division, the division you've added. If you're an entrepreneur, you got a company, specialized tax division. If you're a solopreneur, you know someone you've partnered with, you've added this on, okay? So you lean into, so how's your life insurance going? I'm glad to see you haven't died yet and we haven't had to make use of it. So how's your portfolio? How's your, whatever it is, lean into the relationship. Well, listen, so many of my business clients are trying to free up cash flow. We've added a specialized tax division. Second point I talked about earlier, take the weight off your own shoulders. They already know you as a person in industry X. Don't try to be Ryan the tax guy if you're Ryan the realtor, okay? So take it off your shoulders. Hey Kendra, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? How have you been?
I'm doing good. How's everything been going for you?
Pretty good, pretty good. We're still kind of trying to make our way out of post-COVID crap, but other than that, I mean, I guess that's the new normal for everybody.
That is the new norm, In fact, we've seen with most of our business clients, cash flows become a huge issue. Access to capital is pretty much non-existent. Costs have gone up. It's a huge problem for people.
Mm-hmm.
I've created a problem there. She'll probably agree to it if this were in real life. She'd talk about part of her problem. After she talks about her problem, what am I going to do? I'm going to solve her problem. Okay. Why? Well, in my case, because I'm a man and I think I can solve all problems. It's just part of my DNA. For you ladies, you're better at this.
We're
but-
problem solvers.
Yeah, you're problem solvers also. But I've seen cash flow be such an issue. In fact, we've added a specialized tax division for that reason because
That
our
makes
clients
sense.
need. So you guys probably took PPP.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So PPP was nice. It probably saved the month. That
Yeah,
month.
it helped for about a quarter.
Yeah. And then it was gone and didn't get renewed. So what we did was we built out a division that focuses on programs that have been around for decades. We've actually been able to tap into $2.3 trillion in programs. And we built a calculator. Here's the thing. I'm already into the calculator. She can't object. She's not going to. Because I'm already off my pitch. I'm into this. And now you're letting the system sell for you. Okay? That's the magic formula. I, as the owner, use that formula. Okay? It's the way that you do things. Okay? Our team leaders, our subject matter experts, they do the same thing. First thing you do is pull up the page, pull up the report, let the visual shine and sparkle and do the sale for you. That's my advice to you. And my other advice is, Kendra, how many days do we have left?
42.
Okay. Time's a ticking. And you know what? You can still sell well after that, but right now, business owners are hungry. So I want you to get out there, talk to people while the appetite is there, and you be the hero. You be the person that's solving this, and we will see you next month. Thank you.